My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. Every single week, we break down full UFC fight cards. We give you our picks, our bets, and our fantasy plays. So make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our content. And our videos are brought to you by BETU Play to Earn. BETU Play to Earn is the world's first play-to-earn sports and esports betting game. Check it out now at betuearn.com. That's bet, the letter U, earn.com. And OddsJam. OddsJam.com has the fastest real-time data between all of the sports books, which helps you spot discrepancies and place risk-free bets. Check them out now at oddsjam.com. Every single fight, all of the odds from all of your favorite sports books. Next up, at UFC London, we have the return of Gunnar Nelson. After 2 years, Gunnar Nelson is 17-5. He's 2-3 in his last 5, coming off a 2-year layoff, and he's fighting Takashi Sato at 16-4. He's 3-2 in his last 5, with both of those losses being by submission. And Takashi Sato is stepping up on short notice here, so factor that in. Gunnar Nelson, he's a grappler. He developed some striking over time. He has that long karate Wonder Boy stance on his feet where he's wide and long and he bounces from side to side. And he just, he likes to use kicks to manage range. Then he just blitzes forward, lowers his level, and shoots takedowns. Once it hits the ground, he's got very good ground and pound, very good BJJ. His issue, though, is that his takedowns themselves are not very good because he has that long style, that long stance, that Wonder Boy stand upright, wide legs. He's got to go from that to lowering his level, getting under somebody's hips, and shooting a takedown. And if you think about a pendulum, he's starting all the way up here to swoop down and then come back up. That's a lot of movement, a lot of distance to cover, and that is why he has a horrific striking differential because he gets blasted on his way in.
Let's see. Let's flash over to it real quick.
No, I don't show that. I don't show that until it's your turn.
You're talking about it. It seems makes sense.
All right. Here's his horrific striking differential. He lands 1.71 and he's hit 3.33. It's just horrific. Double. Anyway, Takashi Sato is stepping up on somewhat short notice after Gunnar's original opponent dropped out. Style-wise, he's a striker. He's got solid power, pretty well-timed strikes. He's got pretty good volume, and he really turns it on when he has you stunned. He can be hittable, though, and that's because he's always moving his feet, but he doesn't move his head. So it looks like he has constant movement, but his head is staying in the same spot, and his head gets touched up. He's got solid takedown defense at 75%, and he probably needs that in this fight. Gunnar Nelson has not fought in 2 years, and just recently he said it was because of a pair of really bad rib injuries. And honestly, I used this reference last time, though. This feels like when Al Iaquinta fought Bobby Green. It was pretty clear that Al was done with MMA. Wasn't looking to fight again. And then the UFC said, hey, we're going to Madison Square Garden. And Al Iaquinta's like, I'll fight at Madison Square Garden. And then all of a sudden, he gets knocked out and Bobby Green, got his first knockout in many, many years. It feels somewhat similar. I get it. Gunnar's not from London, but this is in Europe. Technically hometown crowd. And, I think he does want a sort of last hurrah, and I think he's taking the opportunity to fight in Europe, fight in a quote-unquote hometown crowd. I think the difference, though, between Gunnar and Al, even though I do think there are some similarities with, if they offered him a fight the same weekend in America on a tougher card, I don't think he takes it. But anyway, the difference, I think, though, is Gunnar Nelson still has some good years left in him, where Al was pretty much done. And he's got some good years left in him, and if you dig a little deeper into those 3 losses. He lost to Gilbert Burns, Leon Edwards, and Ponzinibbio, and that was years ago. So turns out those guys were really good, and those losses have actually held up really well. So I think the UFC has done everything possible to help Gunnar here. The short notice thing, whatever, but it's not their fault the original opponent dropped, but they went out and they got somebody who wasn't very good on the ground and is tailor-made for this. And, I think Gunnar just shoots some takedowns, even if they're from way too far away, gets it to the ground. He probably wins by submission. But a 2-year layoff is a long layoff, and I guess we'll see how he looks. Another fight. Ooh, I was already on this graphic. Another fight that I'll be watching the scales for. What do you think, Jacob?
You know what this fight could end up looking like? Because you mentioned Gunnar Nelson and his stance. I even have it in my notes that he's a very Stephen Thompson-like stance. Takashi Sato has like the exact same stance, and they're both very, very passive strikers in that right. That's why you see that more or less strike line right there. They honestly could land like less than 10 strikes around if this stays on the feet. I see this as, we talk about the fight of the night, I see this as one of the most boring fights of the entire card, potentially, if Gunnar does not wrestle. We'll see what happens with the wrestling. Takashi Sato, listen, honestly, this matchup was tailor-made for Gunnar Nelson. I think this is a lamb to slaughter type situation. This is why the odds are as wide as they are, because if you look at that last fight against Miguel Baeza, the ease at which Baeza was able to get to his leg and just dump him on his head and submit him, I mean, that's the path to victory, right? If you're Gunnar Nelson, you got to be able to see that and think, all right, let me just do what I do. Let me just shoot a takedown, get to the ground, and just dominate the fight, which is exactly what should happen. If this is just a strictly striking match, both these guys kind of suck, so it's going to be boring. Neither one of these guys wants to throw volume, so that's why I think it can be a boring fight. But honestly, if Gunnar just wants to shoot a takedown, get to a leg, he should be able to get into the ground and submit him, I think, fairly easily. I think this matchup was tailor-made for Gunnar Nelson. That's kind of why he took the fight. I think he likes this matchup, and I think he should just dominate, honestly. I don't think he's a very good fighter, but he should dominate this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. We both completely agree on this fight. So Gunnar Nelson's both our pick. We think he's going to be the very fortunate benefactor of a favorable matchup, essentially. But this is a fight. That was like the nerdiest sentence I've put together in many years. This is going to be another watch the scale fight because, frankly, Gunnar Nelson shows up a little chubby, hasn't fought in 2 years, hasn't put in the time. I may pick against him because
is he still at Connor's camp too? Because we've seen Connor's coach has not been the best coach for people as of late. I don't know if he's won. I honestly, as a coach, I don't know if he's won a fight in like the last 4 years.
He's the new Edmund Tarvarian, the guy who ruined Ronda Rousey.
Right. So I don't know if he's still in that camp. He was in that camp, so I don't know.
Yeah, I just think we'll see what he looks like. If he shows up on the scale in shape, looks great. Like, hey, listen, I've been wanting to fight these. I just had rib injuries, and it is what it is. I'm all for it. So Gunnar Nelson is a clean, easy pick, but he's it's really just because he's benefiting from some stuff. $9,200 is probably worth it. Assuming he looks good on the scale, $9,200, he should win by submission. Right.
Yeah, I mean this one, another one. Minus 450 should be a $9,600 value, but there's a lot of big favorites, so he's $9,200. That's probably good value.
Yeah, he's probably worth that. And the Monkey Knife Fight strike line is interesting. It's very low. It's very close. Not much data. Gunnar hasn't fought in years, so I'm not sure what makes the most sense there. You like more in that? You can't really do a less on 24. You just leave it alone, I guess. Then.
Yeah, just leave it alone.
Yeah. I mean, I probably leave that line alone as well. I mean, it might be a more, but like you said, they're both passive strikers. There's not necessarily going to be a ton of back and forth there. But if you want 50 free bucks, one of you just signed up. I got an alert on my phone. Go to wewantpicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our 5 betting partners. Make a deposit with any of them. Let me know after you do, and I send you $50 as a thank you for supporting us and our partners.